That's good. So, a lot of people, mainly Zwiz and a few other people have asked me, hey, how do you make your thumbnails? So, I'm actually just going to throw us, a quick unlisted video up just to show how I do it. So, we start out with the tax paladin. As you can see over here, I literally keep all of my old thumbnails. Sometimes I'll go back and re-edit them and then kind of rehash them for a new video. But what I do first off is, so today we're making the rogue one. So you think about a clever little pull. I guess that's good enough for now. Make sure it's nice and centered. Slap tax paladin into the old thumbnail cards. Boom, boom. Since we're a rogue deck, some people don't know, but I actually color code the thumbnails. Not sure why I go through that effort. I feel like nobody notices it anyway, but I just kind of do it anyway. So right here, I kind of size it up to the general outline that the other card was. I don't give a shit about being exact. Boom, and now I just turn off the old one. Then I also turn off the text, and I smack this guy up here. Here's our boy. So since he's kind of the mainstay card, or the mainstay card, this is what I call the pop. So I pop him. I pop him out. And so this is the quick selection tool. And I use a lot of the keybinds whenever I'm doing this, so if you don't see me click over here, but you hear a button press, it's probably me changing the tool. So anyway, let's kind of get like the anglerfish shit going. Maybe get a little bit wider there. And the fucking quick selection tool is kind of a pain in the ass, dude. I'm not gonna lie. You know what? Let's just, yeah, sure, man. Whatever. Let's just do this and that, and we will figure out the rest later. Perfect. Good enough for me. And so now we just trace around him, sort of. And I like to do it in chunks, so then my Control Z, returns us to something that doesn't suck, instead of like trying to outline the entire thing all at once, and then when you Control Z because you fucked somewhere up, it just undoes the whole thing. That would suck. So this is you can kind of get sloppy with it, right? And the lower you get on the character, the less you have to give a shit, right? Because I'm just gonna erase their legs and stuff like that. So here we can get a bit more sloppy with it. Now, interesting thing is though, I like to think about the perspective of the card itself a little bit. And so this hand we can see is closer to us, right? So that is when I decide, what would look cool is if this hand went over the card text. Whoa, over the card name. Motherfucker, dude. Over the card name. You know what? That's sure, bro. Sure. That's good enough for me. If it goes over the card text, whoa, that's so 3D. That's so cool. Get out of your fucking 3D glasses, man. That's so awesome. So we just continue on. Oh, perfect. Normally it really screws up pretty good on these lines, but there's enough contrast to where it won't screw up. Now this might screw it up. Nice. Gotta get those sharp claws in there, and there it is. Good enough for me. Make sure to get his little dorsal fin or whatever you want to call it. I think this would be technically a dorsal fin? Back fin? Fin. Not gonna lie. Stole this idea of, popping out a card from Marshy. Love Marshy. I even messaged him and I was like, yo, dude, I feel like this is kind of your thing. Would you be okay if I kind of started stealing this idea just like a little bit, kind of put my own spin on it? And he went, brother, I do not give a fuck. I'm not the person that created this. Other YouTubers have done this too. And I'm like, sweet, I'm going to shamelessly steal it now. Love you. And that was that. So, kind of get some of the spikes going. And since we know that this arm is going to be going over the text, we kind of want to make the arm a little bit more detailed than the other stuff. Make sure to get that knee, even though we're more than likely going to erase erase it. So, because of the perspective of things, right? We're going to probably have this go over the text, and generally his mouth is going to go over the text, and then his arm is going to pop out of the thing. Now this arm, I'm undecided on this arm, right? But because of this tooth going over, and we could make it look like he's leaping out of the card itself. So maybe we will just have the entire thing kind of popping out. Wow, it does not like that tooth, huh? It does not like that tooth. Let's see if ooh. Kind of pain in the ass, I'm not gonna lie, man. It's kind of a pain in the old tushy. Because sometimes the quick selection tool starts freaking out, and it's like, brother, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Oh, if you're wondering why the face cam is off, my hair looks like shit, and I don't feel very good, so not sure if I mentioned that. I don't really think when I'm talking much, to tell you guys the truth, but if you guys watch the stream, you already know that with the old Johnny Come Hands thing. Anyway, so this is good enough for me, right? This is serviceable. This works. Not phenomenal, but it works. So now we feather by 2 pixels. Control C, Control V. Hide that. Boom. Wow. Great. Yeah, that's serviceable enough for us, right? So what we do is we delete the original thing. We go back into the selection tool. We start selecting the empty space, right? And we really don't have to take the most crazy care while doing this. And then we can just delete that. It's already looking phenomenal. Wow. Sure. Good enough for me. Oops. Good enough for me. So, oh, there's my cat trying to get in. Took him a whopping 7 minutes to realize that the door was shut. Look at him. Whoopsies. So here, we make him larger. El largo. El largo. And, yeah. Yeah, that looks... Sure. That is good enough, man. That's serviceable. So now what I do is I go into my eraser tool. Sorry, I was doing some other art, so it kind of... First off, it's in the wrong mode. Second off, that sucks. I like to go to these, then... kind of do one of those. Now to make him kind of have some additional depth. Is this really the one that I was using before? I feel like this is wrong. I don't give a shit. As you guys can tell, I like the look of my thumbnails, but at the end of the day, you know, I'm more about doing it more about the brevity of the thumbnail. You know, I just want to pump out the thumbnail real quick. This is the portion that takes the most time, obviously, because you're actually, you know, doing something besides just slapping 3 cards together. But the follow-up on this will just be slapping 3 cards together. So now this is a super nitpick of mine, right? This is very nitpicky. First off, whoa, that's wrong. There we go, perfect. I don't like how not rounded that was. Much better, even though nobody's gonna notice those very fine details. It's more of like a personal thing where I want those fine details. Nobody's ever gonna appreciate those. But as you can see here, again, because I'm a stickler for the fine details, you can see here in the background, it's him. That's him. That's his arm. That's his thumb right there. So, because I'm a fucking stickler, I'm gonna put this guy back. And I'm actually, I'm gonna select this. I'm gonna feather. I'm gonna feather it by 2 again. Control C, Control V, delete this one, take this one, put it under the what, you know, what I call the pop, but over the card, lay it over that, boom, bang, pow, and then boom. And all of a sudden, there's no duplicate him. And then this, you could assume, you know, you could like be like, oh, that must just be his foot. No, wrong. That's his fucking something. I don't even know what it is, to tell you the truth. You know what? We're gonna be a real stickler today, and I'm gonna delete that. Boom. Now, to me, that's a respectable, you know, bust it out real quick. Bust it out. And then what I do to really get some good stuff, because obviously this top is way too sharp, man. In fact, the whole thing is kind of too sharp. You pump this fucking size up. You pump the hardness down. Dare I even say put it to like 146. Perfect. Whoops, on the wrong layer. I do that all the time. You like that? You fucking like that effect, huh? You fucking like that one? The smaller you get with the brush, the lower the hardness has to be. Kind of get that floaty, ethereal look on the. I don't like that. The floaty, ethereal look on the outlining, like that. Perfect. I like that. That's okay. Except I want to tone this down even more. This is too straight. Boom. Perfect. 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 So now what I do is I merge these, because this is done. Done. That part is done. No rogue, right? And now comes the easy part. We got gang up, because, you know, typically I just choose cards that people know, people miss, people appreciate, people love. You know, kind of nostalgia baiting with the card choices here. And then I try, again, I don't think people appreciate this, but I do. I try to tilt the cards just a hair, just a hair. You may be wondering, Mr. Streamer, Mr. Bukafarm, why do you do that? It's because in my eyes, this is somebody's hand of cards right here. This is somebody's hand of cards. And this one, you know, everybody knows who Live Recruiter is. I want you and you and you. So I don't really need to give a shit that his name is being covered by Mr. Oracle here. I just don't need to care. Damn, those cards are small, but Morty don't care. And that's how I make my thumbnails right there. Super simple process. Just kind of going with the motions, you know. Sharpen his fucking fins up some more. Make him look real scary. Oh. Nope. Who gives a fuck? No one cares. Okay, that's about it, really. That's how I do it. And the only reason that we have the art going over the text is because I made 2 mock-ups, and I asked my Discord, and they're like, "Does this look better, or does this look better?" Because I'm leaning towards this one, right? People said this one because, you know, it really helps that 3D look. Really makes the card right here pop. And even though it covers a part of it, you know this is infinite mill, right? And artistically, it's kind of cool. But anyway, yeah, that's how I make my thumbnails. So, yeah.